What's up, everybody, and welcome back. So, another day in cryptocurrency and another partnership with the blockchain NFT company and a sports league. This time it's going to be between Sorare and the English Premier League entering a multi year NFT deal, which has a lot of people looking at the NFT space again. We'll kind of dig into this article from Bitcoin Insider. NFT platform Sorare and the English Premier League have signed a multi-year deal for a license to offer NFTs of league player cards, CNBC reported just yesterday. And this deal has now matured. I think it's worth about $150 million now. I think that's euros, if I'm not mistaken. Paris-based startup will allow its 3 million users to play its fantasy football game with Premier League specific player cards, allowing fans to buy, sell, and trade virtual cards of their favorite players as part of the deal, which was initially reported to be valued at 30 million. I think that was the initial. I do believe that this new deal puts it up way in the $150 million range. Sorare is, like they were saying, it's kind of like an NFT-based game for the different players that are part of looks like football, NBA, and Major League Baseball. And so this one is going to be pertaining specifically to the football league. That's European football, not North American football. And we will kind of read on further here. The news of the partnership between an NFT startup and one of the world's biggest football leagues comes amidst precipitous decline in the overall NFT market since its peak in 2021, with overall sales of digital assets plunging more than 90%. And that is pretty much in line with everything else that we've seen in the cryptocurrency space, though we have seen a little bit of kind of some reignition of life within the markets, both in the cryptocurrency space as well as the NFT space. According to data compiled by CryptoSlam, Sorare has risen to 8th place overall, with total sales amounting to 891,000 between December 31st and January 30th, so just over the past month. A 45% increase from the month before in 2022. Total card sales on Sorare platform amounted to 500 million, nearly doubling its 2021 total of 270 million. And if you go to the OpenSea platform here, you can actually see the amount of volume that's been traded, and if you look at the activity, it'll give you kind of an idea of where most of the activity took place. And you can kind of see here back in 2020 through 2021 there was a lot of sales of these cards kind of peaking there. Looks like in February, just after the turn of the year in 2021, and then sort of petering off here. And we may see a little bit more of volume coming up. A few sales over the past couple of days, nothing too crazy. Perhaps this deal will kind of spike things. It's more based on users, if anything else. A partnership is good. It's kind of like a nice indicator of things to come, but we need to see users. That's more or less, especially if this is like a fantasy football game. You want people actually using the cards, playing the game, and generating interest. So that will also kind of go hand in hand with this partnership. The agreement is just the latest in a string of other deals Sorare has inked in the sports world, including both Major League Baseball and National Basketball Association. So that definitely appeals to the NBA and MLB that we're seeing here. And this is a good thing. This is the kind of the time that you want to be building these connections while the market is down, so that when the market does come back into play, there's already all these kind of established connections that are going to strengthen your project and make it even more appealing to the wider crypto space. Because once the bulls kick back in, people are going to be far more likely to jump on things that kind of already have a very decent foundation. And this is something that's going to really turn them on to your project. So having these kinds of connections, as I was saying, is a good thing. Founded in 2018, Sorare specializes in using blockchain technology to bring fans into contact with digital collectibles through fantasy leagues. Sorare was last valued by investors at $4.3 billion in September 2021, so that's quite a bit of time in between now and then, and they may need to readjust that in that valuation just based on current market conditions and volume, users, etc. Backed by industry leaders like Japan's SoftBank, interesting that it's backed by SoftBank. SoftBank is a major player in a lot of different kinds of investments. Not a lot of them have played out very well. Another major investment SoftBank made over the past few years was into it was like an Airbnb renting kind of company that actually all fell through, and it ended up being a multi-billion-dollar hole for them. But SoftBank has been known to take their hits and keep on going, and so I'm sure that the people there know what they're doing. SoftBank and venture capital firms excel in benchmark. It accounts amongst its shareholders athletes like Lionel Messi, who's been getting a lot of attention over the past year here, Serena Williams, and Kylian Mbappé. I'm probably butchering that last name there. It has, however, come under industry scrutiny in the UK and France over allegations it's encouraging gambling, with UK Gambling Commission called to the investigation whether Sorare requires an operating license or whether the services it provides do not constitute gambling. I would say there's probably some gambling tied to it, according to a 2021 notice. I don't know if I really care much for them getting involved in this because, again, it's the blockchain world. I don't like any kind of centralized regulations or authority having much to do with the decentralized space. But I imagine if it is gambling and there's enough scrutiny on top of them that they'll apply for the right kind of licenses. If their valuation is $4.3 billion, I mean, even if it's 10% of that or 50% of that, they'll have the money and the capability to apply for the licenses so that they're compliant and they don't face any kinds of shutdowns or fines that they could have to then pay. And also, too, they don't want the negative market attention, so it'd be better to just kind of sort that out before we get into the next bull run. The company responded to the allegations by stating that 80% of its players play for free in the Fantasy League, while also committing to strengthening the free-to-play elements of the games. It was requested by the French National Gaming Authority. So this is a free-to-play game. I imagine you buy one of these NFTs or several of these NFTs, you join a team, or perhaps run your own team, and that's kind of how the game functions. I've never played this game. I'm not much into NFTs personally. I don't know exactly how I feel about them at the moment. I prefer to think about the NFT kind of sphere as more of a technical thing. It's a really great achievement for the contract standards. The main tokens that we see are built on ERC20, but there is two specific standards that I'm extremely interested in for future, and those are the ERC115 and ERC721, with the latter, the former, being kind of a mix of both the ERC20 and ERC721s, and it really strengthens the contract, and it really is a great piece of technology for the cryptocurrency space in general, and I would like to see it go past more than just these kinds of things. I don't mind the digital collecting kind of thing coupled with it being part of a game. That is a much better use case for it than some of the other things we've seen for NFTs. The whole NFT space is so saturated. If you go onto OpenSea and you just go through some of the different NFTs that are offered, I mean, I really don't get a lot of them. I think that they're copycats of things that have seen success. Like, here we go, like Shilly, this ape kind of thing that we see, really appeals to the people that think they may have missed the Bored Ape Yacht Club pumps, and they kind of want to jump on something else that's similar. Same thing that we saw with all the Yearn Finance copycats. That is the same mentality that's driving a lot of these copycats when it comes to the NFT space. And as I was saying, I just find it's extremely saturated. It's not something I spend a lot of time on. I am more interested, as I said before, in the technology behind NFTs and what it will do for the overall space. It has a lot of use cases for digital IDs and insurance. It has a lot of use cases for the healthcare industry. It could help decentralize a lot of those things as well and put the control of it back into people's hands. Whether people like it or not, digital IDs are definitely going to be a thing of the future. And so if it's running on a blockchain and if it's in a way where people have total control over it and they're practicing self-custody, not outside of the blockchain space and being controlled by some black regulator or black entity, something tied to the WEF, for instance, then I'm more into it. I'm not really into just kind of what you're seeing here, all these weird art things. I'm not saying there's not a place for it, and Hats off to anybody that's making money within the NFT space, that has made money. That's awesome. I'm never going to shoot down somebody that's making money. I just want more technical based stuff to come out of the NFT part of the industry and less saturation of these kinds of things. But I think this will be good for the people that are part of Sorare, that have been holding these cards. These kinds of partnerships are a great thing overall. And like I said, this is the time to be building these connections. You want to be doing it now when the market is down and getting ready for the next bull run, and so that you've got that great foundation for people to really be able to bite into when things kick off, instead of trying to make all of those deals and promise things to investors during the peaks, because we have seen that with previous things. Some mining companies recently that have had to sell major parts of their company to cover themselves were making ridiculous claims about the potential of their companies during the peaks. And this is when prices were at an all-time high, and the FOMO was also very high. And that is probably what is driving a lot of investors to seek compensation now from these companies, given the fact that they, are left holding the bag more or less. Doing it now, getting your foot in the door now, building the partnerships now, means that when things kick off, the investors have had a chance to take a position early on within, for instance, the Sorare kind of sports things, or whatever the other ones that are making connections right now. They had that opportunity to take that position now, and then when things kick off, they're sitting pretty. They're not going to be upset with the game, the company, and they're not going to feel like they're missing out. So it's good to see this. I'm hoping that we see more of this kind of as we get through the next few months. I do think that cryptocurrency is on its way into a breakout. I'm not sold on anything just yet. There are a lot of issues still around the world that point towards, if anything, the market going sideways, and potentially even actually going down more if the geopolitical issues continue to get worse. But that does remain to be seen, and I'm hoping that I'm ultimately wrong about that, because, hey, who doesn't like to make money? I would suggest visiting sorare.com, finding out more for yourself, going to their OpenSea, having a look at the different NFTs that you could possibly pick up right now that are relatively cheap comparatively to what they were selling for back in 2021 and 2020, and getting kind of ahead of the game, so to speak, here before things really kick off for this company, because this is a major deal, and I'm sure that we will see more from them as they continue to build connections. They have 3 million users, which is a massive amount of people, and if they're doing this, chances are they're going to do very well when the bull market comes back. But that's pretty much all I got for you on this article. I will keep an eye on this, maybe make some more videos on this as it develops, and if anything else comes out, you guys will be the first to know here. If you like this video, please consider leaving me a like, perhaps sharing it with your friends, and also subscribing if you want to see future content like this. Until next time, I will see you guys.